It was uncle versus nephew, Madrid in motion versus Valkenswaard United, Jack versus John, and the title, the bragging rights and the points go to Valkenswaard United, John Whittaker and Marco Seining. Not just their first victory of the 2022 season, but in fact, the very first podium for the defending champions. It's taken them 6 rounds, but finally now this upward curve of the riders in blue seems to be moving in the right direction. Victory for them, crucial championship points, and a memorable weekend in Hamburg for Valkenswaard United. We look back at it all here on GCTV as they finish ahead of Madrid in motion, and a very impressive performance from Can Stars, their second podium of the season as well, ahead of their home leg coming up next week. Let's unpack it all here. Stay with us on GCTV.
Lamisel is leading the way in equestrian sports with its commitment to green technology and eco-friendly products. The EnviroGreen line from Lamisel is created from recycled plastic and natural bamboo charcoal. Using advanced green technology, Lamisel creates the best for my horses. I'm proud to partner with Lamisel in striving to protect the environment for future generations.
Lamisel. The future is green.
The city of love, culture, and elegance, Paris will be the 9th stage of this epic tour. The most fierce horses and their passionate riders on the highest class show jumping competition. Longines Global Champions Tour at Champ de Mars from the 24th to the 26th of June.
What a performance from Valkenswaard United. We will stand by and await for them and the rest of the podium made up by Madrid in Motion and Can Stars to get onto the podium and celebrate a famous victory for the riders in blue. As we mentioned, 2 Whittakers, Jack and John, going head-to-head for the gold medal in Hamburg this weekend. As it stands, John going on to beat out Jack, but great respect shown between the 2 riders. Can Stars, a reminder again, a really strong performance and a nice upward curve for a team that struggled a lot in 2021. They have improved drastically at the start of this campaign and continue to show really, really good signs. I remind you that this is GCTV and this is Super Saturday. There is still an LGCT Grand Prix of Hamburg to come later on tonight. We will put the attention on the Grand Prix later on this afternoon. But for now, we keep the focus on Hamburg GCL. We keep the focus on the top 3 in Valkenswaard, Madrid in Motion and Can Stars. And the big news of the afternoon as well is the fact that the Berlin Eagles, despite an absolute disaster from Ludger Biederbaum and Miller, who came home on a score of 19, Berlin Eagles still hold on to the championship lead. Stockholm Hearts move into 2nd place. Hamburg Giants, despite being eliminated, hold on to 3rd, but they are now level on points on 105 with Madrid in Motion, and Prague Lions now just 4 points behind on 101. So the hunt for GCL Super Cup semi-final spots is intensifying round by round here on the Global Champions League, as we see your top 3 finishers make their way out into the middle as we prepare for their podium and prepare for their medals to be handed out. A first podium and a first victory of the season for Valkenswaard United. Unique to Frank Paul, John Whittaker, and star gold for Marcus Eining. Eining coming home in 4 today. And let's not take away from the double clear of John Whittaker. Not a single rail falling all weekend long for the veteran, showing everybody how it's done and putting together one of the best performances of the weekend that helps his team make it onto the top of the podium. Frustrating for Madrid Emotion, so close yet so far. An outstanding performance for them. Double clear today, Jack Whittaker and Mark Macaulay. Only Macaulay with the rail down on Thursday in round 1. Again, double clear from Jack Whittaker. Much like his uncle, the Whittakers dominating in Hamburg this weekend, making sure that they finish in 2nd place and take nothing away from the Cannes Stars as well, who started the weekend in 11th. Double clear delivered by Johnny Pulse and Jans Bachmann. They then made sure that they stayed on their overnight score of 4, and that overnight score of 4 proved to be enough to get onto the podium after tough performances for Miami Celtics, for the Prague Lions, for the London Knights, for Rome Gladiators and Berlin Eagles and New York Empire. All of those teams around Cannes Stars struggling to deal with the Frank Rothenberger course. They remain on 4 and they see themselves onto the podium. Your top 3 teams of the 2022 Global Champions League event in Hamburg this weekend. We start with your 3rd place finishers. Jans Bachmann, Johnny Pulse for the Cannes Stars. Your 2nd place riders led by Mark Macaulay, followed closely by Jack Whittaker. Double clear today to keep them on a score of 4. Madrid Emotion moving up the overall championship table. They now remain in the hunt for a top 4 and actually really start to put pressure on the Hamburg Giants and on Stockholm Hearts. Jack Whittaker, Mark Macaulay, double clear, staying on a score of 4. But it is these 2 that go on to win the event. Trust Jack Whittaker. Trust John Whittaker, I beg your pardon. Well beyond his years. Getting a pickup from Marcus Eining as they make their way to the top of the podium. Your champions in Hamburg, Valkenswaard United.
Nicht nur John Whittaker gewinnen, sondern auch sein Teampartner. Wir von uns mit Marcus Eining und John Whittaker. Es war ein wichtiger Sieg. Wir waren mit seiner Landwirt. Marcus hat es Ihnen im Interview gesagt. Den 7. Platz holt Marcus vor Hamburg. Jetzt mit der einzig frischen Punkte aufgekommen. Wie gesagt, nach Cannes, nach Stockholm, nach Paris, Monaco, London, Valkenswaard, Rom, New York, Rio und
They are your top 3 teams for the GCL in Hamburg 2022 as the riders will make their way back to their horses, perform a lap of honor, being overseen by the founder and president of the Global Champions League, Jan Tops. And what a performance from that man in particular, from John Whittaker. And unique to Frank Paul to go on and put together a double clear throughout the whole weekend to help Valkenswaard United to an overnight score well, of clear. Now on to 4. And the speed of that round from Marcus Zaning and Stargold ensured that Valkenswaard United's 4 would be fast enough to see them finish on top of the podium. All 3 podium finishes coming home on a score of 4. Just a crucial reminder of how important time is in the sport, in the Global Champions League. Time separating gold, silver and bronze this afternoon, as the crowd in Hamburg appreciates and applaud your top 3 finishes as Valkenswaard United, their first podium and first win of the 2022 season, once again go around this famous arena and show their appreciation to the fans as well. Very knowledgeable, the Hamburg crowd love their show jumping and do appreciate strong performances. What does this now do for the title defense of Valkenswaard United? What can it do ahead of the upcoming leg in Cannes and throughout the rest of the campaign as well? Is a top 4 a serious reality for the defending champions? You certainly would not have thought so based on the opening stages of the year. But now, as things have started to come around, they are starting to look better and better and better. So Valkenswaard United perhaps might go on to still get into that top 4, secure a GCL Super Cup semi-final spot, and then put the pressure on Stockholm Hearts, Hamburg Giants, Madrid Emotion and Prague Lions. We'll remind you of the overall table a little bit later on this afternoon. For now, though, let's take you back to that Valkenswaard United round and remind you just how and where things went for them. Marcus Zaning, the only fault of his weekend, the only fault, in fact, of the team's weekend, as him and Stargold saw one fence go down. He came home on a score of 4. It opened up the doorway for John Whittaker, and the man made absolutely no mistake, driving his team home, showing wonderful skill on his 14-year-old and putting together a very strong performance, a performance that would see Valkenswaard United finish as the fastest 4. And as the last team out the gate, there was no one else to try and better that performance. So Valkenswaard United, your champions of the weekend. Speaking of champions, as far as the championship race is concerned, I remind you that Berlin Eagles stay in first place, Stockholm Hearts jump into second, and Hamburg Giants drop down to third. So, as it stands now, that is what your top 3 look like. Let's take you through to Madrid in motion, because they too were very impressive today. They too were able to deliver a very important double clear this weekend, and it came in round 2. Jack Whittaker first out the gate, making sure that he and his team finish on a score of clear today. And then Mark McCauley on Cap West, unfortunately having a single rail go down. It took them to a score of 4. And with their time, it meant they were not going to be fast enough to put themselves in contention. At the time, though, they did take the provisional lead, and the teams that followed really did struggle. It meant that only Valkenswaard United would be fast enough to go on and take them away from top spot. But a really good weekend from a really strong team who stay in contention for the Prague playoffs, who stay in contention for a GCL Super Cup semi-final spot, because as it stands now, they are level on points with the Hamburg Giants on 105. And after a dismal weekend for the Hamburg Giants following that elimination of Soeskirten and a bad weekend for the Berlin Eagles, Madrid Emotion cash in and make real points. What happened with Cannes Stars? Well, we'll show you about a very, very impressive performance from these two men today. Johnny Pulse with a score of 4 overnight. Jens Markman clear in round 1. And today, both of them then delivered a clear. Johnny Pulse on Charlie coming home clear, opening up the doorway as well for Jens Markman and Nomani, who, much like a few other riders today, delivered a very, very important clear, keeping the Cannes Stars on a score of 4. And perhaps already early on, signaling their intention, their ambition to get onto the podium. And as the rest of the teams that followed struggled, all of a sudden that double clear, leaving Cannes Stars on 4, became good enough to be a podium. Now, I believe Johnny Pulse is standing by for us to have a conversation about his performance and the team's performance. Let's go through to him and find out exactly how he is feeling, if he is ready and standing by. Is that correct? Let's hear from him.
Both clear. Okay, I had the first day, I had 1 down. It was was my own fault. My horse is jumping great, so I'm waiting now if we can get to the podium, and then hopefully fingers crossed for the Grand Prix this afternoon.
So what did you spoke beforehand with Jens?
Double clear. We have to go for the double clear, and okay, it worked out. My horse jumped really good. Jens' horse also, so now we just have to wait what happens in the class, and hopefully a podium.
So is Constance already dreaming?
We're always dreaming.
Big smile on the face of Johnny Pulse. And I remind you that the Global Champions League next heads to Cannes this coming weekend. So you talk about bringing momentum with you into your home events. Well, the Cannes Stars are doing exactly that. And how much would Johnny Pulse and Jens Bachmann like to deliver a performance like that in their home event next weekend? And what does it then do for their overall championship as well? Because if you recall, they started the weekend in 11th. And whilst they might only jump up one spot to finish in 10th now on the championship standings, it is signaling an upward curve from the team, and that is wonderful to watch. Now, Rome Gladiators started the weekend on a decent score. They were one of the 4 double clears of the weekend, and with Fernando Martinez Sommer, FMS, holding his position from round 1. Shane Breen taking a rest, and Edouard Levy coming in. It was 4 for Sommer, 4 for Levy. And it took the Rome Gladiators to an overnight score, or to an end of weekend score, I beg your pardon, of 8. And that score of 8 was not enough to see them even finish on the podium, despite going into the round on an overnight score of double clear. So frustration for the Rome Gladiators, who miss out on an opportunity to go on and make up some ground. They stay in 7th place on the overall championship standings. Speaking of championship standings, Berlin Eagles had an incredibly unique and rather strange performance in round 2. And that was led by Ludger Bierbaum and Miller. Already now getting the distances very wrong and seeing an early fault go down. And then a run out from Miller. All season long, we have been praising this combination. We have been praising how good Ludger Bierbaum and Miller have been. They have helped guide this team to the top of the championship standings. But faults going down, a run out and a handful of time faults sees Ludger Bierbaum finish on a score of 19 in round 2. Philipp Wieshout finishing on a score of 4. It takes the team to 23. And all of a sudden, they find themselves in a horror situation at the end of Hamburg, from double clear to 23. But amazingly, they hold on to the championship lead. They are still 10 points clear of the Stockholm Hearts. And if you recall, they were 14 points clear going into Saint-Tropez. They did not have a good weekend and found themselves 13 points clear. Again, they have not had a good weekend and somehow find themselves now 10 points clear. So the Berlin Eagles showing that a lot of early success has brought them some buffer room now throughout the mid stages of the season. Berlin Eagles finishing on a score of 23, but they do hold on to the championship standings. So where to from here? Where do we go next? New York Empire was another big talking point, because 2 young teams, 2 young riders, I beg your pardon, in this team, an average age of just 22 years of age. Double clear in round 1. Jody Hall-McAteer and Harry Charles looking to become the youngest ever GCL combination to win a stage. Unfortunately for Jody Hall-McAteer, 1 fault down quickly became 2 faults down, taking her to a score of 8, taking the team to a score of 8. And Harry Charles sticking to what he knows and doing very well like he did in round 1, staying clear all weekend. However, those 2 faults of Jody Hall-McAteer taking the team to a score of 8 meant that they fell out of contention completely. Now, from a championship perspective, we've spoken about Hamburg Giants. Let's remind you as to what took place today, the only elimination of the weekend. Now, what makes this even scarier for the Hamburg Giants was Suze Curtin on King Kong. Going through her round, we see the pull-out, we see the run-out from Suze Curtin. Here it happens. Of course, the fault then comes in and she picks up 4 faults. But at this time, Linda Heed in particular You could physically see her encouraging Suze Curtin to give it a go, reminding her what's at stake, telling her to get back in and try once more. Unfortunately, that was not the decision taken. Suze Curtin was eliminated. Hamburg Giants were eliminated. And all Linda Heed could do was then ride as an individual for the rest of the afternoon. But that elimination sends them to the bottom of the standings for Hamburg, and it sees them lose ground on the overall championship standings. They now fall from second to third, and all of a sudden trail Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M. Speaking of Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M, they would have seen this night and this weekend as perhaps a real helping hand from the teams around them, because there were a handful of teams that continually saw themselves drop behind the score of the Stockholm Hearts. Let's bring up those performances from the Hearts and remind you as to what took place for them. They were third out the gates. Lily Atwood, 4 in round 1, 4 in round 2. And the 5 of Olivia Philipparts was then very, very well done in round 2, as he then delivered a crucial clear. It kept the team on 13. But after a 22 from Shanghai Swans, a 16 from Paris Panthers, a 16 from the Istanbul Sultans, an elimination from Hamburg Giants, as well as big scores from Miami Celtics, the Berlin Eagles, it really was a helping hand for the Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M, who now jump up on the overall championship standings. They move up to second on a score of 109 and trail the Berlin Eagles by just 10 points. Now, a rather unique situation. We don't often bring two different GCL teams together for post-round interviews, but that's exactly what we've done following Hamburg's performance today, because both John and Jack Whittaker, Madrid in Motion and Falkensvaart United, standing by alongside us. Jack, I'll start with you, because I imagine that for you as a young man, this must be an incredibly proud moment to not just ride with your uncle, but to compete for a GCL title against your uncle. What was going through your mind today?
Well, yeah, I was trying to beat him, obviously. We're going in there as family, but there's no hesitation, you know. We just want to beat each other and come out on top.
John, that competition is very healthy and perhaps is what has led to the very success of this family. I ask you the same question. Were you trying to show the young man how it's done there today for Falkensvaart United?
Exactly, yes. We have to keep them on, these young guys, on the toes, you know. We have to make them try a bit harder. But, yeah, me and Marcus were good. We had, obviously, a good start with double clear going in today. Unfortunately, Marcus had one down, a little bit unlucky. He jumped very good, actually. So I knew the pressure was on a little bit, so I had to come up with a good clear. And it worked out good. My horse was on good form today, and, yeah, it worked out good.
John, how would you rate the performance of your teammate Marcus Henning in Star Gold? That very fast pace is what really helped you guys along the line, wasn't it?
Happy.
Yeah, okay, Marcus is a fast rider, and Star Gold is actually a naturally very fast horse, so that obviously helped. But his fence he had down was a little bit lucky. He still jumped very good, and yeah, left me having to jump clear, but yeah, I managed to jump clear, so it was good, always good.
Jack, back to you. There was a slight wobble in the, I think it was the 3rd, 4th and 5th stages of the Global Champions League, but early points haul for Madrid in Motion. Podium once again now. All of a sudden, a GCL Super Cup semi-final, a top 4 finish is very much alive for Madrid in Motion, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I like to think we're somewhere near the top there. We had a really good start and then a bit of a ropey middle, but it's kind of how it goes, a bit of show jumping. You can't always predict what's going to happen in the ring. And hopefully we just keep continuing the form and try and get on top of that podium one day.
Jack, I don't think a spleen has ever been spoken about as much as it has this weekend. Talk to us about how you rode. Was there any discomfort? Were you feeling good on the horse today?
Yeah, no, I thought I rode fantastic, to be honest. The spleen was no problem. The spleen was keen, so I'm keen then as well.
I see, John, these youngsters now trying to feign injuries and blame that behind performances. I'm not so sure. John, finally from you, Falkensvaart United now inside the top 6. I'll ask you the same question. A GCL Super Cup semi-final, a top 4 finish. Is that the goal of Falkensvaart United this year?
Yes, definitely. We needed, to be honest, we needed a good result today because we've been well, not coming up with the goods. And so I think hopefully today's results lifted the spirits and lifted the team, and hopefully we can still keep improving.
All right, John Whittaker, Jack Whittaker, thank you very much for your time. Well done again. Two of your podium finishers, Falkensvaart United finishing first, Madrid Emotion finishing second, and great to see the competition between the two Whittakers. As we say, we come in as family or friends, but when you are in the ring, it is all about competition and wanting to win. Darragh Kenny had a rather unique weekend, not involved in GCL round one, received a late call to come in and assist the team in the second round. Harry Smolders going back to the Netherlands, Darragh Kenny and Great Tequila J coming into round two today. And despite having a fault down, Darragh Kenny showing that team spirit that is so necessary, receiving the call from Rob Hoekstra, coming in to assist the team, delivering a fast four on Great Tequila J. It's that kind of team spirit. It's that depth that, whilst it might not be featuring for the Paris Panthers now as far as overall championship success is concerned, but that's the kind of performance, that's the kind of mentality and attitude that we want to see in the Global Champions League. We caught up with him following his performance today.
Yeah, I just arrived this morning, so it was a bit interesting, but she's a really super horse, so it made it a lot easier.
Fast four, how unlucky was the fence down?
Quite unlucky, actually. She nearly jumped the combination too well and then ended up a little bit far away from C, but she feels in good form, so.
Great to see Darragh Kenny in Hamburg this weekend, and a really good performance. Despite a rail going down, a clear from Yoli Matilineo and a 4 from him. Kept the team on 16, and unfortunately, though, for them, they still find themselves in 13th place on the overall championship standings. Speaking of standings, let's bring them up for you and just bring you up to date, bring you up to speed with, firstly, how Hamburg wrapped up this weekend. We spoke about it. Your top 3 teams on the podium. Impressive from Falkensvaart, who now jump up to 6th on the overall championship. Marcus Eining and John Whittaker, the two best riders of the weekend, finishing faster than Madrid in Motion and Cannes Stars. London Knights dropped to 8th after a tough second round along with Saint-Tropez. But once again, Rome Gladiators collecting championship points. Prague Lions collecting championship points. But Stockholm Hearts on the second page. Shanghai Swans on the second page. Berlin Eagles and Hamburg Giants on the second page. I cannot wait to unpack this with Frederik de Backer on the Insider this coming week. But as we said, strangely enough, perhaps much like we saw in Saint-Tropez, the overall championship standings don't really significantly change as far as positions are concerned, because Berlin Eagles stay in first. Stockholm do leapfrog Hamburg into second and third. But it does all begin to tighten up, as we said, much like that accordion. Things are tightening at the top of the table as far as the overall championship is concerned. Now, I believe Johnny Pulse is standing by for us. Johnny, welcome to the show. Congratulations. What an outstanding performance from you and your team today. Tell me how and why you guys were able to put together such a fabulous double clear.
Yeah, the horses jump fantastic. Okay, they also suited here, the big grass arena. Yeah, Jens rode a double clear. I had a fault the first day, but he jumped fantastic today. So yeah, now we're nice third place.
Jens, speak to me about this performance and what it means, especially knowing that the Global Champions League moves to Cannes next weekend. Do you want to take this form, this momentum, to the home events next weekend?
Unfortunately, I don't go to Cannes. I do with Johnny Stockholm again, but yeah, our horses jumps great, and I think it's also nice for them when they have 1 week off.
And 2 podiums, Jens, in 2022 already. This is a great improvement for the Cannes Stars, who struggled in 2021. What do you think the key to success has been?
Oh, that's hard to say. A lot of reasons. First of all, we have really good horses here, and what Johnny spoke about already, that the grass ring fix our 2 grey ones pretty well, and yeah, I'm super happy. I enjoy every moment, and I hope we get a couple of good results the next weeks.
I see Johnny laughing, hoping he doesn't get another question, but he will get one final question. Johnny, ahead of Cannes next weekend, Jan says he won't be there. Tell me about the arena. Does it suit you? Does it suit your horses next weekend?
I don't know, to be honest, because I've never been there, but I take Nieuwmeer Zarkava. I had her last week with, she jumped fantastic. So yeah, we look forward to compete next week in Cannes.
Well, I want to say congratulations to both of you. Great performance today. Wonderful to see you on the podium, and great championship points as the Cannes Stars now find themselves moving up to 10th overall. Solid performance from them to once again put together a super double clear. Jens Bachmann and Johnny Pulse delivering the goods for Cannes Stars, their second podium of the 2022 season. A far departure from the team that we saw in 2021. Really struggled their way through the season. This team looks full of life, full of excitement, and full of performances. Johnny Pulse and Jens Bachmann putting together really strong performances once again for the team. I've spoken a little bit about the overall championship standings. Let's remind you as to what impact Hamburg has had on them. Because, as we mentioned, changes inside the top four as Stockholm Hearts now move up to second, but they still find themselves 10 points behind the Berlin Eagles. Hamburg Giants, following their elimination, drop down to third, but there is movement upwards for Falkenswart United inside the top six. Madrid in Motion now go inside the top four. So that battle for GCL Super Cup semi-final spots ahead of the playoffs in Prague later on this year is starting to heat up tremendously. Scandinavian Vikings and Istanbul Sultans remain 16th and 15th. Paris Panthers, no movement for them, but Cannes Stars, as we said, go up to 10th place, while Shanghai Swans drop down to 11th after, again, another disappointing weekend. But a huge performance from Falkenswart United. Madrid in Motion and Cannes Stars finishing on the podium. An elimination for Hamburg Giants, a 19 for Ludger Bierbaum and Miller. What a weekend to try and unpack on the Insiders. Stay with us here on GCTV, because this is Super Saturday and there is a lot more to follow come the end of the evening. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.